Hey, how's it going? I hope you're doing absolutely fantastic. I am Nathan, and today I wanted to go over 6 different tips that I have used since starting my marathon training. Some of them physical, some of them psychological, because honestly, when you're running in the double digit of miles, you can start to go insane. A little bit about my running history. Right now I'm 6 weeks into my 18-week long prep for a marathon. I've always been somebody who's been good at running, but I've never been great at running, and I decided that I wanted to take some time from focusing solely on lifting, which has been my thing for almost 12 years now. I wanted to switch my focus from lifting and then move it over to running. So about 2 months ago, I decided to do that, and I have been running my butt off. So I decided I wanted to start sharing that journey with y'all and share some tips with you that I have learned real quickly from all the running that I've been doing. Hopefully these tips will help other beginners such as myself ease into running so that it doesn't seem like such a daunting task as running 26.2 miles. So please, if you find any tips that help you, please give this video a like. And also, if there's any tips that I left out, drop a comment down below on what would help other people in their running journey. So stick around to hear the tips, but first, I gotta go run 9 miles, so let's go. All right, back with everybody. Just got done with the little 9-mile run. Went pretty well. Throw the time up right here. Sure. All right, the first tip that has really helped me since I started running was finding routes and planning them out before I actually go and run. This is especially important if you prefer to run inside. You can run on a treadmill a lot. I do so, but mostly for my shorter runs. And this is fantastic. It makes it real easy to keep the pace, and you can even set incline to make it more challenging. But running on a treadmill for super long runs in the double digits of miles really sucks, and I get super hot in there. So for the longer runs, I prefer to run outside. And that's where it's super important to actually have a plan on where you're gonna be running outside. So if you don't plan out where you're running to outside, you're quickly gonna find out that there's gonna be a lot of obstacles in the way. The path isn't gonna be clear. There's gonna be traffic involved. You're gonna be running on just weird, uneven surfaces, and you're not gonna have a good time running at all. So it's important that you use a couple of these apps that I'll mention in order to avoid that problem. So instead of going into it with no plan, I'd recommend using apps like AllTrails, Strava, even Google Maps to give you an idea of where you're going. So I really like AllTrails, and that's what I use mostly, and I like it because not only while I'm running will it give me the path of the route so that I don't get lost, even though today I did. It will also give you reviews of people that have been on that trail, so you can kind of expect going into it what it is that trail is like and if it will be a good place for you to actually run. But yeah, when I first started running, I would just kind of step out of my apartment and kind of just hope for the best and just keep track of the distance on my watch, and then just kind of run whatever direction it was that I could go unimpeded. And while that does work, it kind of messes with the flow of your run first off, because you're having to change directions, and it just kills the flow that you have going when you're kind of making it up as you go. You got to use a little bit more brain power than you do. You're already running and you're already tired, so just have a plan going into it. You don't gotta make things more difficult than they have to be, especially if you're just a beginner runner. Now I'll always plan where I'm going, especially as I increase the distances of my run. Like next week I got a 14-miler. You best believe I'm already scouting out places that I'm gonna go so that the run doesn't suck. It's also important to note that the intention of your run is going to greatly impact the location of your run. So if you're doing like repeats, you're going to want to do it on a track, and you could do it on a straight and even road as well. But if you're going for longer distances, doesn't really matter. As long as you have somewhere that's safe and that you know where you're going, you'll be fine. The next biggest thing you can do for yourself in preparation for a marathon is to find a plan and actually stick to that plan. First, if you're not on a plan or program for a marathon, you need to be on one. Simply just Google it. There's a bunch out there that are beginner friendly and will help you reach that goal. I'll list some of those beginner friendly plans that I've found on the screen. Now, I don't know about you, but I know that I am no programming expert when it comes to marathon or long distance running, and I'm gonna go out on a limb and say you aren't either. Doing your own thing is likely to get you injured or get you no results, which either way is gonna stop you from reaching your goal of running a marathon. Especially as a beginner, it really doesn't matter what program you're on, as long as you're on one and are sticking to it. I know it's easy to look over and see other programs and you're like, oh, maybe that would be better. But no, once you choose one, just stick to it. It doesn't matter if you find it boring. Long distance running is gonna be a little bit boring. It's not exciting. And it doesn't matter if you see something that's like, whoa, that looks fun. No, don't get shiny object syndrome and start jumping everywhere. That's gonna hinder your progress as you train for a marathon. And once again, once you do find that program, stick to it and reap the rewards. People a lot smarter than you and I have made these programs, and a lot of people have benefited from them, so just stick to it and you'll see the results. Let's go on to the next one. Oh, that was painful. The next tip that I have for you is if you don't already weightlift, start. And if you do already weightlift, good news, continue to do so. Now I know for people like me, this is fantastic news. I absolutely love the gym. But if you're somebody who doesn't enjoy lifting or who doesn't already do so, This can come as some unfortunate news for you, but the facts are, weightlifting is going to complement your running. It does so in a couple of ways. The first one is injury prevention. It's going to increase the strength of your connective tissues, that being your ligaments, your tendons, just the joint integrity as a whole. And of course, it's going to increase your muscular strength, which is just super great for running. Running is a super repetitive motion, and if you don't have the musculature to support that repetitive motion, you're going to quickly encounter injuries from overuse. Weightlifting is also going to help you running with the total speed at which you can run, just because your muscles are now stronger to support that increased output. And then also it is going to help with your overall running technique. As you get stronger, you can hit better positions in your stride. All right, next I really want to focus on nutrition to include hydration. Now I don't want to insult any of y'all's intelligence. You already know the better you eat, the better you're going to perform. So what I really want to focus on is your nutrition right before you run and during your run. Now for me personally, if I'm only going to be running about 5 miles or less, I really don't care to eat beforehand or to really care about my hydration before, which maybe I should, but I don't think it's going to super affect my performance, and I highly doubt it'll affect yours either. But if you're going to be running 5 or more miles, that's where you really want to kind of pay attention to what it is you're eating and drinking before you run, and maybe potentially while you are running. So if you are going to be running over 6 miles, I would suggest eating 150 to 200 calories of easily digestible glucose. And when I say glucose, I really just mean sugar. So anything that your body, when you ingest it, it will quickly be absorbed into your body. So things like that will be things such as fruit, sports drinks are really good, like Gatorade, Powerade, Propel. I don't even know if that's still around, but things like that are going to be super good to get in some glucose, which is going to give you some energy during those longer runs. Now I really don't think that you need any intra-running nutrition until you get to a little bit above 10 miles plus. That's when you're going to be running for possibly multiple hours. But let's say you are running for multiple hours. How often and how much should you eat while you are running for very long distances? Personally, I don't think that you should be eating too much while you're running. You're only going to be burning so many calories, and your body is only going to be demanding so much fuel. But if you are going to, I would suggest eating about 30 grams of carbs during a run about once every hour if you're running for multiple hours on end. Like I said, if that's not the case, I don't think you really need to be eating that much. It's more important to be hydrated during those runs. But if you are going to be running that long, of course, eating those calories are going to really help you get through those really long runs and prevent you from bonking or running out of any energy sources while you're running forever. It is important though that when you are messing around with what you're eating before or during your runs, that whatever it is doesn't mess with your stomach. You can't be eating things that are going to give you some bubble gut right before you're running or while you're running, because that's just going to prevent you from finishing that run, or it's going to make it a really, really unfortunate run, especially if something ends up happening. And depending on where you run, any bathroom might not be very close to you, so really try to avoid that. Now for hydration before the run, of course you don't want to go into it super dehydrated. I'm not blowing anybody's mind with that information, I know. But you want to make sure that you're not also so hydrated that you really need to pee during the run. You got to kind of play this balancing game, and this really comes into effect when you're on those long runs. So if you're running in the forest, and if you're a guy, you can kind of make up for that and just kind of find a place that's quiet and pee. But it kind of disrupts your run, and it really sucks. And if you're a girl, well, good luck with that. So just make sure that you really don't overdo it. You also do want to make sure that you have enough sodium and potassium within your diet already. If you don't, just to make sure you're not cramping up during those runs. And once again, you can overdo it with that. You don't want to have so much sodium, potassium in your system that it just throws off your electrolyte water balance, which is going to make you feel like trash once again. All of this is kind of just things you got to play with, but it's something that you really need to consider when you are getting into running longer distances. Your body's going to start doing weird things that you've never experienced before. So you just got to take into consideration that you'll need water and then proper nutrition during that. When you are on your runs, I do recommend getting yourself a nice hydration vest or something similar so that you can carry a water source with you as long as some nutrition. I actually just got my first one recently, and it's been super awesome. I wore it today for the first time, just kind of test it out, and it was super awesome to have some water on me as I ran that I could drink through a tube. It's a Nathan, which is funny because that's my name, so I love it more for that than anything. And it was just nice to have something that I could sip on and not have a dry mouth. I have run up to, a half marathon without a water source, and that was pushing it for me. I was starting to feel a little dizzy, so I'm super glad that I have that as I continue to run farther and farther runs. Before I get into one of the most important tips after this one, I think it's super important as well just to not overdo it. When you're first beginning running, you're going to want to go farther and farther, probably too quickly. I know that I definitely am guilty of it, but there's really no point to rush into it. Rushing into it is just gonna hurt you, and even if it doesn't hurt you, it's quickly gonna make you very tired just thinking about how long you have to run. I know it does for me. I do enjoy at the end of the week. It's really my only long run, so it's kind of something that, even though it's daunting, I get to look forward to it, and that's something I would suggest to y'all as well. It kind of gives me that mental challenge and a stimulation, if you will, about each week potentially going farther and just kind of enjoying the process that goes into it, because you run a decent amount during the week generally, and it's fun to kind of put all that together at the end of the week and really push yourself to a new personal best distance wise. But you're never going to get there if you don't listen to your body. And when I say that, like, if you're super sick, probably don't go for a run. You could probably do a lot of other things that would still be productive, such as, I don't know, stretching, rolling out, maybe even go for a light walk. But if you're sick, not feeling good, there's no point. I know a lot of people that will push through it, and it takes them even longer to get over that sickness. It's just not, it's pointless at that rate. You need to just let your body do its thing, recover, because unless you're in a really time crunch, there's no point into continuing counterproductive training. And as time goes on, you're going to figure out what your body likes and doesn't like as well. If you're just starting, you don't know what good and bad necessarily feels like. But as you continue on training for months and months and years, hopefully, stick with it, you'll kind of see the breaking points of your body, and then you can kind of pull the reins back once you do get close to that. And there's no shame in that. It's just part of the process. We're all starting from somewhere different. And if you're starting from ground zero especially, don't be afraid to walk on even a 1 mile run. You got to start somewhere. So listen to your body, don't hurt yourself, do it for the long run, and if you do that, you'll have way more fun. You're not doing this to impress anybody, you're only doing this to improve yourself. On a side note though, look at my legs, this lighting. Ooh. The last tip that I want to talk about is pretty simple, and it's just having the proper gear. Now most of you probably already know what the proper gear is, so I'm not going to dive crazy in depth, but I could do a more in-depth review if anybody wants to hear about that. But it's going to be things like having a smart watch. Doesn't really matter what kind. All of them essentially do the same exact thing nowadays. They will help you track your distances, they'll track your paces, they'll track your heart rate. Just a lot of really good information to have, especially as you first start getting into running longer distances. It's just super hard to know how long you even ran unless you have a smartwatch like this. You can also use your phone though. If you don't have a smartwatch, you don't absolutely need one, but I definitely would suggest having one if you can. You can also get heart rate monitors that go across your chest, or you can use something that's not quite as accurate like your smartwatch, which is also an option. The ones that go around your chest, as I have done some research, they do seem to be a little bit more accurate. So if you want something super accurate, I would go with one of those. But a smartwatch for most people is going to get the job done. Something else that's super important, of course, is getting the right shoe. Now, getting the right shoe is something that you're going to have to play around with. You can read all the reviews in the world, but your foot is not the same as everybody else's foot. So you're going to have to do some testing when it comes into that. But once you do find that shoe that is comfortable for you and feels great while you're running, there's no need to switch it. You can consistently buy that shoe as they end up fading naturally. As they do, the more miles you put on them. There's also going to be different types of shoes for different types of events. Some events, such as running on a hard top, are going to be a different type of shoe that you might want to get when compared to running on trails, which is going to be another type of shoe that you wouldn't want to do trail running in hardball running shoes. So you kind of got to see what type of surfaces it is that you're going to be training on as well. Or you could kind of get an overall trainer that's going to be decent on most of the surfaces. So that's what I do right now. I haven't really specialized in any specific surface type of shoe, but those are options as you get deeper into optimizing your run. It's also important to kind of mess around with even the clothes that you're wearing. Chafing can be an issue. I know it is for me and my thighs, so I definitely always wear a pair of longer underwear or compression pants when I do go for longer runs, as to avoid chafing, because that just makes a run absolutely awful. So just other little things like that to consider. Socks are going to be important so you don't get crazy blisters, and chafing also can happen on the upper body as well, but fortunately I don't have that issue. but I have heard of that being an issue for some people. So those are another thing to consider. Like I mentioned before, as you get into longer runs, getting a hydration pack such as this one. I like this one because it has my name. Pretty super. This will help you carry water as you're running. Got a tube, drink from it, super fun. You can also put things to carry on as you go through your run. But yeah, having the proper gear to facilitate your running is going to help you first off enjoy your running a whole lot more, because it could either motivate you a little bit with seeing the number go up as you progress on that run. It can also, backtracking to phones, it's also great to have a phone that can connect to some wireless ear pods, because on those long runs they can be monotonous, so it's super cool to just plug into your phone, listen to a podcast or some music if you need the extra motivation. And then you can also, while you're running, learn some stuff. It can take your mind off of the running if that's something you need, or you can go psycho mode and listen to the things around you. But I don't know how you do that. That is terrifying. But yeah, having the proper gear can help facilitate your running ability and help you get through those long runs. It can help prevent, honestly, some injuries when it comes to chafing and feet problems. So yeah, definitely invest in the right gear, and that'll help you solve a lot of problems and help you reach the goal of running a marathon. Hold up, bonus tip is to know your why. Knowing your why is crucial. Whether that be just to challenge yourself, whether that be to lose weight, whether that be to just be overall more healthy, knowing your why is going to push you to that goal. Running a marathon, similar to eating an elephant, which you can only do one bite at a time, you can only run a marathon 1 mile at a time. So knowing that why will get you through it. So those are the 6 tips that I would definitely recommend for anybody beginning their running journey to a marathon. Hopefully you found some of the tips useful to you, and if you did, please leave me a like and subscribe. That would be awesome. I plan on continuing on putting out fitness related content, such as long distance running as well as weightlifting. So if you found anything that helped you, please let me know down below, and if you have any other tips that you'd like to share, please comment them down below. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day, and I hope that this helps you with your running journey. Until next time, I'll see y'all later. Keep on running far. See ya.